Chosen one, something ancient within you has begun to stir, not as a sudden burst, but as a gradual, undeniable unfurling. It is not the loud awakening that the world expects. No, it is a sacred bloom, slow and deliberate, like the way the sun opens the petals of a flower without ever touching it. You felt it rising in you, quietly shifting how people respond to your presence, especially women. They're not just noticing you now, they're drawn to you, but not for surface reasons. They are responding to the life force you now carry without apology, your high sexual energy. For too long, that energy may have felt misunderstood or even misused. It was either hidden behind masks or misunderstood as something to suppress or be ashamed of. But no more. You are no longer shrinking to fit comfort zones that never nourished you. You are no longer questioning the natural magnetism that lives in your voice, your walk, your silence. Instead, you're beginning to understand that this energy is sacred. And now that you've stopped hiding it, your life is beginning to respond in ways that defy logic. This is your blooming season, chosen one. You're not becoming someone else. You're simply stepping into who you've always been, but this time without the fog. Your presence now moves like heat in the air, subtle but inescapable. Women feel it when you're near. They glance without knowing why. They speak differently when you're in the room, not because of something you said or did, but because your energy is awake, and awake energy makes everything else around it come alive too. You are no longer an invisible seed buried in the dirt. You've broken through. You've sprouted into the light, and now everything around you is beginning to change to match your new frequency. You're no longer begging for sunshine. You are the warmth. You're no longer desperate for recognition. You radiate acknowledgement from within. Let this be your grounding truth. Your high sexual energy is not chaos. It is order, not confusion. It is compass. It is the natural expression of your alignment, your physical body, your spirit, your emotions, all finally moving in the same direction. And when that happens, people notice. But more importantly, the right ones begin to respond. This blooming isn't about being louder. It's about being truer. It's not about chasing validation. It's about becoming so authentic that it finds you without effort. This season is yours now, not because you forced anything, but because you allowed yourself to become. You've stepped out of the dirt and into the light. The bloom has begun. Now that you've begun to bloom, chosen one, your presence has shifted. You don't have to wonder whether others feel it. You can see it. The subtle changes in the air when you walk into a room, the quiet glances, the longer than necessary conversations. You're not imagining it. Your energy has become magnetic, and you're starting to understand that attraction isn't something you chase. It's something you become. But what exactly are they attracted to? Not just your looks or voice or movement. Those are reflections, not the source. What they feel now is your essence. It's the vibration you carry when you're fully present. It's the quiet confidence that no longer needs to prove itself. It's the way your high sexual energy doesn't beg to be noticed, but refuses to be ignored. This essence is not about performing for attention. It's about embodying truth. And when a man walks in truth, he becomes irresistibly grounded. Women feel safer around you, not in the sense of being protected from the world, but in the sense that they can let their guard down without fear of being misunderstood or judged. You're not trying to impress them. You're inviting them to exhale. Your energy now says, I know who I am. It doesn't need loud clothes, clever words, or overcompensating gestures. It says, I'm here, fully, calmly, willingly. And in a world drowning in men who perform, manipulate, or flee from presence, you've become a sanctuary. Not because you learned a trick, but because you've unlearned the fear of your own power. Let this be your compass. Your essence is the attraction, and your high sexual energy is the current that carries it forward. Don't dim it. Don't dilute it. Refine it. Direct it. Let it flow through your actions, your touch, your voice, but most importantly, let it live in your stillness. That's where real power blooms, not in what you do, but in what you are when you do nothing. And now the women who once glanced past you are leaning in, not because of what changed on the outside, but because you finally gave permission for what's within to shine without shame. This is your bloom, and it's only the beginning. Your essence is no longer hidden. It is felt. You don't need to chase anymore. You've already become what they were looking for. Growth never announces itself with fireworks, chosen one. It arrives subtly, quietly, in the way you begin to carry yourself differently, in the way you speak with less urgency and listen with more depth, in the way your spirit begins to unfold inwardly before the world ever notices the outer shift. But now, they are noticing, especially the women around you. Not because you've become louder or more polished or more charming, but because your energy has begun to breathe. It's growing, it's expanding, and the people around you are feeling its reach. You are no longer chasing recognition, you are embodying rootedness. And that rootedness has become magnetic. The bloom that began as an awakening has now turned into something sustainable. You're no longer flickering in and out of confidence, you're settling into it. You are no longer reaching for validation. You are growing so grounded that validation becomes irrelevant. What matters now is not who sees you, but how you see yourself. Growth at this stage is not explosive. It is consistent. It is organic. It is steady. And the steadiness is what makes you deeply attractive now. Because in a world where most men are fluctuating, unstable, reactive, you have become anchored. Women feel this difference in the most subtle ways. They feel it in how you pause before responding, in how you don't rush toward intensity, in how you're no longer trying to make something happen, because you know that what's meant for you will rise to meet you. This kind of growth cannot be faked. It is not loud, but it is unmistakable. It shows up in how you show up, unapologetically, but without force. You don't need to dominate a room. You simply occupy space in a way that feels settled, magnetic, and undeniably secure. And security, true, embodied, calm security, is rare. And that rarity is what they're drawn to. You've also started to grow in awareness, not just of yourself, but of the kind of energy you attract. And you've stopped mistaking chaos for chemistry. You've stopped calling temporary validation love. You no longer try to fix what doesn't fit. You understand now that your energy deserves a garden, not a battlefield. And in that understanding, you've created an inner environment that invites not just desire, but devotion. This is what it means to bloom, not just to be seen, but to grow steadily in full alignment with your truth. And the women who enter your life now, they can feel the roots. They feel the difference between someone performing confidence and someone who has grown into it. They feel the weight of a man who no longer needs them to bloom, because he already has. You are no longer a seed wondering when he will be chosen. You are the tree they find shade under. You are no longer hoping to be picked. You have already become the place where things grow. Something elegant is happening now, chosen one. Your growth has given rise to movement, not wild or erratic, but intentional, graceful. There's a rhythm now in the way you live, a pulse in the way you speak. You are not trying to control energy, you're dancing with it. And women, whether they know it consciously or not, are being invited into that dance. A rhythm that doesn't pull or push, but flows. The dance of energy is not something you perform. It's something you embody. You are not chasing connection. You are letting connection find its tempo with you. And if it doesn't match, you don't force it. You simply let it go without resentment. That's the dance. That's the mastery. You move in sync with what is real and step away from what is not. Because now you understand that your energy is not a performance to attract. It is a rhythm to align with. This rhythm is subtle but powerful. It's in the way you take your time now, in the way you allow space between your words, in the way you are no longer afraid of silence. Silence is not empty in your world anymore. It's charged, because you are no longer trying to fill it with noise. You've made peace with your own frequency. And in that peace, women feel safe enough to exhale. You are not trying to impress them. You are inviting them into your calm. And your high sexual energy, it doesn't flare out randomly anymore. It doesn't scatter. It sways. It pulses. It draws in. It holds back. It listens. It responds. It doesn't try to dominate the moment. It saturates it. You've learned that seduction is not about manipulation. It's about harmony. And that's what you've become. A man in harmony with himself. And that harmony turns every interaction into a moment. Every moment into an invitation. Every invitation into a choice. And here's the secret most people miss. You don't need to pursue when you are in rhythm. Rhythm draws rhythm. When you walk in alignment with your energy, the right people don't just show up, they stay. Because they're not attracted to performance. They're moved by presence. And that's what you offer now. Not promises, not performance, but presence. The dance is happening whether you notice it or not. But now you do. Now you feel it. And in that feeling, you're not trying to lead anymore. You simply move, and the world moves with you. Chosen one, by now you've begun to notice how your presence carries itself into places you haven't even spoken yet. There's an unseen trail you leave behind, a lingering echo that stretches long after you've left the room. You've moved from being a background character in the eyes of others to becoming an experience they carry home with them. And this isn't by accident. It's the result of your energy becoming intentional. It's the quiet authority of a man who has taken the time to refine his essence, not just for his own sake, but to influence everything around him without force. Your high sexual energy is no longer just something others feel. It's something they breathe in. Like pollen carried on the wind, it touches those who come close, even when you're not trying. You speak less now, but when you do, your words are heavy with weight. You no longer seek to be entertaining, you seek to be impactful. And that impact doesn't come from speaking louder, it comes from being fuller. Fuller in awareness, fuller in presence, fuller in restraint. You don't need to fill silence because you no longer fear it. You own it. You've become pollination without effort. A quiet seed carrier of memory, inspiration, and mystery. And women, in particular, feel this in ways they often can't explain. You walk by and they feel a pull, not to your appearance alone, but to your frequency. Something about your calm makes them question their noise. Something about your stillness challenges their chaos. They may not even speak to you, but they'll remember you. And this is where your true bloom begins. Not in the number of eyes watching you, but in the number of souls stirred by your presence. You've stopped chasing moments. You've started creating atmospheres. You carry peace where others carry tension. You carry power where others carry performance. You carry purpose where others carry pretense. But don't be fooled. This isn't just about charm or allure. This is sacred. This is transmission. You are transmitting a message to the world with every breath you take. I no longer abandon myself for approval. And that energy is contagious. It awakens others, especially those who are used to games, masks, and surface-level exchanges. You've become a new blueprint of masculinity, one rooted not in volume, but in value. So let your presence keep pollinating. Let it enter conversations even when you're silent. Let it guide those who feel lost. Let it soften those who carry hardness. Let it provoke curiosity in those who've only known performance. Because your energy now carries something deeper than attraction. It carries invitation. You are no longer trying to fit in. You've become the very environment others long to rest in. And yet, chosen one, with every great blooming comes the need for renewal. Just as the earth moves through seasons, so must you. Your high sexual energy is not a static force, it is a living current. And the man you are becoming must learn not only how to bloom, but how to shed. Not only how to radiate, but how to rest. There will be days where your energy dips, moments when the dance slows, times when the responses aren't as loud or the eyes not as many, and in those moments you must remember, blooming is not permanent, but growth is. Don't fear the quieter seasons. Don't panic when your glow pulls back into you. That's not the end of your power, it's the rebuilding of it. That's when the roots go deeper. That's when the soil recharges. That's when your presence becomes denser, richer, wiser. The version of you that bloomed into presence is not the same one who will bloom again. Each cycle brings a deeper truth, a new clarity, a stronger foundation. During these phases, you begin to choose more carefully. You protect your time, your energy, your focus. You let go of what no longer grows you. You walk away without noise. You choose solitude without loneliness. And that choice becomes your strength, because nothing is more terrifying to a shallow world than a man who is at peace in his own silence. Renewal is not weakness, it is wisdom. You've given much. You've offered your energy, your attention, your gaze, your intention. Now you return inward, not to retreat, but to replenish. This is when the next layer of your power begins to unfold, when your presence deepens so much that people don't just feel it, they rely on it. Not to complete them, but to remind them of what wholeness feels like. And when you rise again from that sacred stillness, you will not be the same. Your voice will carry more resonance, your eyes more depth, your movements more grace. Because you've come back with more of yourself. You've honored the cycle. You've respected the rhythm. You've chosen to bloom on your terms, not the world's. This is your cycle now, not just of attraction, but of evolution. You are no longer burning to be seen. You are resting to expand. You are no longer desperate to bloom constantly. You are blooming when it matters most. And that makes all the difference. There comes a moment, chosen one, when the energy you've cultivated becomes so still, so potent, that you begin to see yourself with fresh eyes. Not the version of you shaped by doubt or the one scarred by rejection. Not the image you once clung to just to survive or the roles you performed to be noticed. No, this is different. This is the moment when your high sexual energy no longer seeks outward approval but begins to mirror back your essence. The reflection in the pool is finally clear. You begin to witness yourself not through ego, not through longing, but through truth. And that truth is striking, because now you see why your presence draws attention, why silence follows when you enter a room, why women who once looked past you now look through everyone else, searching for something they only found in your gaze. It is not their eyes you're watching anymore, it is your own. You see what your energy has become, not chaotic, not scattered, not fragile. It is pure movement, it is steady flame, it is heat but with wisdom. And as you stand over the reflection, you realize that you no longer crave what you used to. You no longer seek to be desired simply for validation. You now desire connection that meets you at your level. Not surface-level hunger, but soul-level presence. This reflection teaches you how far you've come, but more than that, it shows you what you've shed. The doubt, the self-betrayal, the shrinking. You no longer perform. You no longer apologize for being magnetic. You don't flinch when others admire you now. You meet their curiosity with calm. You hold their attraction without trembling. You no longer wonder why they are drawn to you. You understand it. And in that understanding, you become selective. Not from arrogance, but from self-respect. You don't need everyone to see you. You only need the right ones to recognize you. And they will. Because when a man looks at himself without flinching, the world sees him through the same lens. The mirror within becomes the magnet without. Now you no longer worry about fitting in. You no longer chase affection. You no longer offer your soul in exchange for crumbs. You see your own bloom, chosen one. You see it clearly, and because of that, others do too. Let the reflection guide you, not just into confidence, but into discernment. For the one who sees himself truthfully cannot be lied to anymore. You are not confused. You are clear. You are not waiting for validation. You are walking in your confirmation. What follows deep reflection, chosen one, is an even deeper commitment. You've seen what you are. You've witnessed your transformation. Now you must cultivate it. For the bloom is not permanent unless it is cared for. And energy, especially yours, is a living, breathing force. It must be nourished, disciplined, and channeled with intention, or it will either grow wild or burn out. You are no longer at the mercy of external winds. You are the gardener of your own inner world. And this chapter of your journey is about refinement, not expansion for its own sake, but precision. You begin to realize that not every opportunity is aligned. Not every compliment is a door. Not every interaction is worthy of your full presence. You understand that the same energy which draws people toward you can deplete you if given carelessly. So you begin to cultivate the soil of your life. You organize your space, you protect your time, you sharpen your values. You no longer flirt with chaos under the guise of passion. You no longer romanticize dysfunction. You water only what returns life to you. You trim away what no longer grows. This is not cruelty, this is clarity. This is the art of becoming unshakable. Your high sexual energy, once raw and reactive, has now become precision crafted. It is no longer a fire that rages, it is a heat that heals. It moves through your body like knowing. It charges your presence with calm certainty. It does not flare up just because someone noticed you. It remains steady until someone honors you. You are no longer looking for women to complete you. You are looking for those who are complete enough to meet you. And because of that, you attract not the many but the real. You attract those who see your cultivation and are not intimidated by it. Those who want to grow with you, not drain you. Your discernment becomes your filter, your energy becomes your field. You no longer chase alignment, you embody it. And this is the beauty of cultivation. The more intentional you become, the more natural your bloom appears. The more silent your growth becomes, the more powerful it feels to those who encounter it. You do not brag, you do not flash. You exist, and your existence shifts people back into their own bodies, their own breath, their own truth. This is where mastery begins. When your energy is no longer a flare, but a frequency. When your presence no longer demands attention, it creates direction. You are not just blooming anymore. You are building, not for today, but for generations of presence yet to come. Chosen one, this is the moment where all the tending, all the waiting, all the silent rising begins to pay off. Not just in what you receive, but in what you now are. You've reached the stage where your energy no longer feels like something